Love is the highest expression in the universe, nothing can beat that. And we're not talking about love between a man and a woman, or love between friends, etc., although that's a part of it. The love we're talking about is universal, because the spiritual universe, is pure love, and so is the basic energy in the 4% universe as well, whether it's hijacked or not. Love means that we feel the connection to everything, everything is us and we are everything. It's the ultimate feeling of being one with the goddess energy, the divine feminine. When we feel this love vibration, we get a hint of what ultimate bliss is. We are becoming one with the goddess. In the future, when we are fully developed as spiritual beings and are able to feel this all the time, we will merge with the Kaya and go back to becoming one with it. But before that happens, there are gradient scales. As we evolve spiritually, we are getting closer and closer to that state of beingness, but we are not ready for it yet, because we have so much left to experience and create. However, if we have felt just a little bit of that state of beingness and have understood what it really is, there is much less hate, holding grudges, and blame inside of us, because we understand that all these negative feelings are just coming back on ourselves. When we think about it, the only ones we are holding grudges against is ourselves, because ultimately, I am you and you are me. We are made as individuals to have experiences, and therefore we are separated. In essence, we were all made from the same clay, physically and spiritually. This is why it's so ironic when the gods are making all these efforts to take over the Ka in order to control it. What they don't understand is that no technology, regardless of how advanced, and no knowledge light in the universe, can make them take over the Ka, because it's not knowledge that will take them there in the first place, it is love. If they don't possess the love vibrations, they will not be able to dwell there. But they won't believe that even if they read this. What the Syrians don't seem to understand is that light is less than love. They think they can overwhelm the goddess universe with help from technology, but in the end, they will only destroy themselves. Yes, it is true that in the meantime they may be able to pollute the Ka, but they cannot take it over. Not even if they would possess the love vibrations. The reason is that if they possessed the love required to be in charge of the Ka, they wouldn't feel the need whatsoever to take over anything, and even if they hypothetically did, it would be impossible. They can only blend in, not control, because the goddess universe is not about control. So, their whole mission was doomed already before it started, and the Syrians can't succeed, only deplete themselves from energy in the long run. The problem is, however, that they, in their naivety, are creating of a lot negativity. We need to think in terms that there are plans within plans. What seems to be happening on one level is only one way of looking at it. A good example is the fact that we are 7 billion people on Earth. From the warlords' perspective, it is a good thing, because they know that the more humans on the planet, the more fear and chaos they can feed off, and the richer and more powerful they will be. Also, they have more super soldiers in the future they can use as foot soldiers in the War of the Genders, in which they will attempt to take over the Ka. Then, there is another, higher plan, which is that we need 7 billion souls on this planet during the nanosecond to raise the vibration of Earth and the human soul group in order to activate the DNA, so we can regain our position as guardians of the living library. Without the numbers, we wouldn't be able to do it. So we notice that, seen from two different perspectives, the same event can have two different desired outcome. I am taking this as a good example, so we all can keep in mind that whatever happens, there is more than one plan behind it. And when I think about it, I want to take another example, which is the infamous Hidden Hand, whom we have talked about a few times earlier in my papers. The same plans within plans are at work here. Hidden Hand and his people are trying to manipulate us into believing that by the global elite and the non-physicals behind them are doing all this evil to teach us a lesson. They are sacrificing themselves for us, something I've described in details elsewhere. But bottom line is that Hidden Hand says they are our catalysts, and the more asleep we are, the more evil they need to do to wake us up so we can start working on raising our consciousness. Of course, from Hidden Hand's limited awareness, believe it or not, he thinks he's pulling our legs and protects himself and his kind. He wants us to feel empathy for them, and not condemn or attack them. They are basically afraid of us, because after all, we have outnumbered them, just like you told me. With that he doesn't mean there are more humans than there are Syrians in the universe, but there are more humans on Earth than there are Syrians able to control us here at Ground Zero, which is Earth. Hidden Hand, most possibly a Syrian, told us all this so he can continue bringing evil to the world and more easily control those who are waking up. In reality, on a higher level of existence, Hidden Hand is basically correct. Let's look at it this way. The Syrians are not the highest beings in the multiverse, far from it. There is very much they do not know, although they think they know everything. There are beings in the Ka who actually are using the Syrians for that exact purpose, to wake mankind up. But do these higher beings endorse violence, death, torture, child molesting? Then, not the least. But the fact remains that the Syrians are here by their own free will, and it's a universe of free will, so not much can be done about that fact, except waking those up who are put into slumber by the evildoers. So, without realizing the whole concept of what they're doing, the Syrians are actually, under existing circumstances, helping mankind to wake up. What the Syrians are doing is a double-edged sword of sorts, seen from their point of view. They gain control over us by feeding off the fear they are creating, but as things go out of hand, it wakes us up to the fact of what they are doing. So, the Syrians' own system is also being used against them and may eventually bring them down. It is quite remarkable how energies work themselves out in favor of love and compassion. And there are indeed helpers who are assisting mankind in the awakening process by using the Syrians as motivators and catalysts. So again, there is more to the picture than immediately meets the eye. However, it's not our task to convince the gods that what they are doing is not to their own favor. They will eventually fail, and those humans who choose to stay asleep will perish together with the overlords, unless both they and the sleeping humans change their ways. We need to leave the gods either to their own demise, or to their own awakening sometime in the far future. They have a very long way to go, if they will ever make it, but we don't, unless we continue walking their path, and look where it's taken us. Our destiny is so much brighter than that, and we're overdue in accomplishing what we're here for. The nanosecond has been the splitting of worlds, and the nano is not totally over yet when I write this. And now it's time to say goodbye to the Syrians and leave them to their destiny, until they, too, have honestly decided to give up their doomed mission and start longing for the love vibrations. In the future, perhaps we can be their teachers,